I do believe that the Commissioner of Mississippi Insurance and State Fire Marshal is with us. Good morning, sir. How are you? It's good to have you.
I'm just lovely, Paul. Great day.
It is, and thank you for joining us. I know you are a busy guy. I was thinking this is your 5th term. You've been there for a while now.
I have. I'm the second longest serving commissioner in the United States. Soon will be the longest serving.
How much longer? How much longer? I was going to say, how much longer do you have to go to beat George Dale?
Well, I'd have to go a long time to beat George, and I have no desire to beat George on his tenure. But when I talked to him Friday, he was on his 4th yard. He was mowing.
He's an incredible guy. Okay, let's cover this one first of all, because I do want to ask you a couple of things as far as the Medicaid expansion. I know people have asked you that, and you're probably tired of talking about it. But on this story that kind of happened last week, and we saw some people texting about it. A couple of people asked me about it. I tried to do some studying on it. What's going on with the new federal regulation that basically says, I guess, that if your roof is 5 years old, you've got some changes in your coverage one way or the other? What's the lowdown on this rule?
Well, first off, it's not a federal regulation on the 5-year. The federal regulation is a regulation that Freddie and Mac and Freddie, Fannie Mae actually, have come out with that effective the 1st of June. Anybody that sells a home or originates a mortgage, that would be a bank, must have insurance that has replacement costs on the roof. It doesn't matter what the age of the home is, but you can't sell it unless you have replacement cost insurance. That caught a lot of people off guard. We'll have some big powwows about it this week, and the first week in May, I've got 14 commissioners coming to Jackson to discuss how we're going to handle the new Biden administration's rulings on roofs and all the other issues that we're dealing with. Now, on the 5-year deal, that came out of Lake Caroline and several of the texts because of a company, one of the major companies, that said, we're not going to write your roof if it's over, I believe they told them 10 years of age or 5 years of age, depending on which company it was, except on actual cash value. It means the value of the roof after depreciation. So that's where all of these issues came out. We've addressed that a little bit. There's some legislation that says that every company that sells homeowner insurance in the state of Mississippi would be required to write actual cash value beginning July 1 of this year. Don't know where that legislation stands this morning.
And that's effective June the 1st?
The legislation in Mississippi would be effective July 1, but the legislation on the replacement cost is effective June 1 of this year. That's a federal law. It's not a state law.
I got you.
But it's only on federally backed mortgages.
I understand. Is there an average cost on that they've worked out what the increase is going to be?
They have not worked out that. You're talking about the average cost on premium, Paul, how much will it cost the consumer? Yeah. They have not, and we're scrambling to figure that out. You know Andy Case in our shop. Andy's just a brilliant guy, been in the industry a long time, handles these type problems. And what we're trying to do is to look at how much of insurance premium is actually win. We know that from our problems on the Gulf Coast, so it can be as much as a 50% increase if we're not careful. But if they don't write the win, then it would be 50% decrease.
All right, now you gave me two numbers. You gave me a 5-year life on there and a 10-year. Which is it? Is that two different separate things?
You got separate companies like State Farm. They have a different policy from State Farm writes actual cash value. They do not write based upon the age of the roof. There are a lot of other criteria. Some companies write based upon the age of the roof. And then you've got companies that say we only write actual cash value, like Farmers. Alpha Insurance offers actual cash value. Alpha's a good company too, and they're out of Alabama. Farm Bureau here in Mississippi writes replacement costs. They're a good company. Safeco's a little different. Allstate's a little different from the rest of them. I have to be careful not to put any of them down, but I'm not happy with some of them. Some of the insurance companies' efforts to cover roofs. It's a big deal for us. There's so much fraud in the roof side. The roofing manufacturers never pay a warranty off. It's always based on insurance, and we catch the complaints. and you've got people like Progressive, USAA. That's mostly for military folks. Only write replacement costs, so they're okay. We really do not have a lot of problems with them, except they're not writing as much as we'd like them to write in the state. They're a good outfit too. So it depends on the company, Paul.
Do they have to notify you, your insurance company, before they do this?
They're supposed to, but they haven't, and that's we're trying to make them do so. And you know, we've got some major changes coming at the wind pool that I was informed about a week or so ago, and the problem there is that we're probably going to have a hurricane in the Gulf Coast this year. I know people do not like for someone to say that, but you need to hear this. It's the truth that El Nino and La Nino have changed, and we're going to have some different type weather in the Gulf and the Atlantic Ocean. So we're probably looking at hurricanes, and you got to be certain that people have coverage on the Gulf Coast. That's part of my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. I've been through hurricanes, and you've got to take care of the consumers down there.
We get lulled into, just like we did between Katrina, between Camille and Katrina, we get kind of lulled that it doesn't happen anymore for a couple of generations, but then we get a dawn of reckoning with something like Katrina. So you're absolutely right. It's going to happen sooner or later. Anything else as far as the insurance world that's happened in the last few days that you want to bring to the folks here?
Well, we got a lot of new
Automobile
bills
insurance,
coming out.
anything? Yeah.
Well, health insurance.
Any of those? Because let's talk about the Medicaid thing first of all. Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me just say that we've got some bills that are good, consumer-friendly bills. We have a bill that the governor signed that will say if you bought an insurance policy, say from Alabama, and it was Blue Cross or whatever company, and they provided benefits, those based on the premium. It's like a contract. And if you live in Mississippi, you should be entitled to the same benefits. And we've got a bill that says you're entitled to those same benefits. And all we're telling the companies, we're not trying to regulate somebody in Alabama. All we're saying, protect that consumer. If that consumer thinks that they're entitled to these benefits, and basically it's about drugs and pharmaceutical costs, you need to provide those pharmaceuticals and drug costs in Mississippi, just like you would if it were in Alabama, Tennessee, or Arkansas, or Louisiana. It protects you.
There's a HB 819 insurance remove filing fee on automobile cancellation or non-renewal appeal, exempt Lifeline applicants from pre-licensing requirement. I have no idea what that's about.
Well, I'll tell you what it's about. When somebody has a license revoked or they don't renew it, they have to pay another $15 fee. And we have about 300 a year. It costs me, let's say we bring in $1,500. It costs me $6,000 to administer that program. And it's just crazy to charge somebody that money when it costs you that much to administer the program. The pre-licensing is just to make it easier for folks not to have to go to class for a whole week. And then we've got the public adjusters in that same bill. And the reason that's important is because of what's happening in Rolling Fork. You go to Rolling Fork now, we were just talking offline with one of your people there about Valley Park and Rolling Fork. It looks just like it did almost right after the tornado hit back in March of last year because of adjusters. And we're trying to get a handle on that.
Is it because of adjusters, or a lot of people just don't want to rebuild there?
Well, some of it's due to adjusters. We've got the hospital there that we've been working on for a year with, and they got great people up there. Had a $5 million policy that should have paid off if they got a public adjuster involved.
We'll be back with more coming up right after this. Hold on.
All right, sure.
So it was okay. High today, 70 degrees. What is it, 70? Yeah, 70 in Vicksburg for the high today. You realize we had some family in North Mississippi this morning, had a little ice on the windshield. A little frost up in the northern part of the state. So kind of late for this time of the year. All right, well, I got one more bill here I want to ask you. Does this going to make any difference at all? It was it's amazing that the insurance folks, Senator Michelle and who else? Senator Turner.
Jerry Turner.
Representative Turner. All got their jobs done pretty early here. They went to the governor, and they've been approved by the governor. But this one was the 2125, SB 2125. State employees authorized the state to offer health savings accounts, and that's been approved by the governor. Is that a big deal? Is that going to make a difference?
It is. It's a pretty good deal for the consumer, but I want to say that the feds came out last week attacking health savings accounts. So we're going to see how this works out. We've got to comply with federal law, but that's something we'll handle as it comes down the pike.
What's your problem with that? Taxes?
Their problem is that it's how it's deducted on your tax return. And You've got a cap on it. I believe the cap's $2,500 a year. But basically what you do, we may have to do that for roofs, Paul, is you can set aside so many dollars each year and put it in a health savings account. We do that already for mitigation accounts on the Gulf Coast. Mm-hmm. And the feds say, well, some of that ought to be taxable and it ought to be after-tax money that you put into these savings accounts. It's complicated.
Let me ask you this. You said in an earlier interview somewhere that if Medicaid is not expanded correctly, I will encourage the governor to veto any bill. In simple terms, what is correctly?
Correctly would be you don't take 140,000 people plus that are paying for the insurance on the exchange mm-hmm. and put them out on Medicaid for free insurance. You just don't do that. We've got a program that works. They have private insurance, 140,000 people. That private insurance pays that hospital more money than Medicaid does, one. Number two, they have skin in the game. They're already working. Why would you take them off of something that they're paying for to give them something free? What's the incentive to do that? I can't get my hands around that. Number two on that same program is that we get a tax off of those tax credits, and we have cost share reductions that we give to those consumers. And when people say it's trash insurance, it's not trash. It's not as trashy as Medicaid is. And the problem is we're going to lose $36 million in coverage. We're going to end up paying over $100 million to put those same people on essentially Medicaid, and it won't help anybody. There are about if you expanded Medicaid today under the traditional methods, Paul, you wouldn't add 25,000 people to the rolls. And that's a 77-23 split with the federal government. It costs you $45 million to do that. You're picking up $36 million on the exchange. We've added 140,000 people to the exchange that are paying for their insurance in some shape, form, or fashion. That brings in $36 million a year to the coffers of the state of Mississippi. That's tax. It's $1.2 billion in premiums. It would only cost the state $10 to $12 million to expand Medicaid traditionally, and then you can sue the federal government for not giving you the 90-10 match like they have to all the other 40 states. That's what I would do. But if they try to take them out of the exchange, I would encourage the governor to veto anything that came out. I know there are a lot of well-meaning people that think that we ought to expand to 200,000, but ask yourself, where are they coming from? If there are only 75,000 supposedly uninsured folks between 0% of property level and 138, where are those people coming from? They're taking them off the rolls of private insurance.
Yeah. What does that do to the market for the people who have to pay for insurance? What kind of effect does that have, and how long will it take in this state to see that effect?
It'll take about 12 months.
Yeah, go ahead.
It'll take 12 months, and it's going to raise the premium for a lot of folks. Think about this. When you take that pool of 140,000 people away, insurance is about risk. It's about pools. The larger the number, the lower the risk for how many people may get sick. Where can you go and pay $600 a month and get $6,000 a month in benefits if you get sick?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Is one of the stories not told, though, because the way we hear it, Commissioner, is this, that without the expansion, the FPL from 100 to 138, there's just nothing there for them, which is not true. You do have the exchange, and the exchange is the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, right?
It's the Affordable Care Act, and we got 140,000 new people on it today. We've got almost 250,000 people on the federal exchange. The feds say they're more than that. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. The reason
I was just going to say
I'm going to let you speak. Go ahead.
All right. So the federal government says there's more people on the exchange than what we actually know. We poll the companies every week, so we know how many people are actually paying their premium. We can tell you how many Native Americans are on, how many. We've got a lot of data that nobody has actually used. So it's amazing to me that you try to pass a bill or legislation without going to the people that it's going to affect, the people that know what's going on. I'm not being critical of the legislature. They thought they were doing the right thing, but they hired a group out of Maryland whose data is a year old in some cases. And the guy's got a PhD, so I'm not going to knock him. He may know something I don't know. But I live down here in the real world. I live in Mississippi. I know what's going on. And then if you look at the chart, you can go to Medicare.gov, Medicaid.ms.gov, and you can see all the data. The 25,000 people you would add are not going to make a difference to the hospitals. And if you look at where the Medicaid money goes, it does not go to the hospitals. Most of it goes to nursing homes. Very little of it goes to the hospital. Go look it up. You've got graphs and charts on it.
Well, that's the other part of this, because you scratch your head, you said. You scratch your head on a couple of things. Number one, you scratch your head how it would make us a healthier place in the state of Mississippi. Number two, how it's not going to affect the people who are paying for insurance now and are above the FPL. And the other thing, the state economist Corey Miller and others talking about, man, this is going to be a boom for the economy. I've never seen any boom from a social program in the United States of America, but you're saying, when you just alluded to this, as far as this economic boom, where's that going to come? What is the pharmaceuticals going to be putting a lot of money into it, or nursing homes, or the hospitals? Where is this economic boom going to come from?
Paul, I don't know, and I know Corey Miller's a smart guy, the economist, but I don't know if they're using woke economics. I don't know where they're coming from. But adding 25,000 people is not going to be a boom. And if you take them off of the exchange and put them in with other folks and say, I've got 200,000 people, you've lowered the number of dollars that are actually going into health care or for health maintenance. So it doesn't make sense to me. I would say that Scott Waller probably got it right when he said the real issue is drug cost. He was on your program last week, and he's right on target. Yeah. 40% of all premiums are based upon the cost of pharmaceuticals. Take Ozempic, which you can have for weight loss. It costs $1 to $5 to manufacture Ozempic. It sells for $1,000 a month. So who's getting the money between what it costs and what it sells for?
Well, when you start looking at other states, too, you look at the news of the economic boom. I haven't heard economic booms from Arkansas, places that have expanded one way or the other. The news that comes out of this, as far as any Medicaid expansion, 99% of the time is just that they have more people on it than they expected. That's basically the news that you hear in the aftermath.
Yeah. So I talked to Alan McClain, the commissioner in Arkansas, Friday, about state-based exchanges. We may end up with a state-based exchange that the legislature gives us authority to do so. I wouldn't establish one unless the governor approved it, but he gave me some of the pitfalls, but I'd really call him about the PBM issue. That's pharmacy benefit managers. And we've got a big meeting on that coming up in May as to how do we as commissioners address it, because it affects everybody's insurance premium. It affects their well-being and their health care. That's probably our largest problem that's looming in front of us for this next year and 5 years is pharmacy benefit managers. And everybody is about who's got money.
Yeah, the PBM is nothing new. It's nothing new that you said this year. It's been the last several years, PBM. We have any bills to correct that in this legislative session that's still alive?
We do. We have one that's in conference. I don't know where it will be. Senator Marshal on the Senate side and Representative Turner on the House side received that bill unexpectedly, and everybody's trying to figure out what they're going to go through. It didn't come through the insurance committee. It came through the Medicaid committee or the finance committee. So they'll work it out.
So you think the Senate should stick to their guns? If we do any kind of Medicaid, it has to have a work requirement on it?
I think that Senator Blackwell and Senator Boyd have done an extremely good job, along with the staff there, of trying to figure out where they need to be. These are bright people. They're smart. They know what they're doing. And I will say this for them. They are picking up every rock, looking under it to see what the cause and effect is. And they've got the lieutenant governors charged them with doing this. They're doing a good job.
Mike, thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much. I wish we had more time.
Always
that is Mike Chaney. You got it. Commissioner Insurance, back with more.